Hey everybody.
No, I can't. I talk with my hands.
We talk with our hands in New York, right?
Yes.
So I need one hand to speak if I'm going to talk. So my name is Sarah. I'm a community organizer at St. Nick's Alliance. And preferential rent is a huge problem in our neighborhood. I'm organizing with a tenant named Matthew Benedict, who actually is out of the country right now, but so desperately wants all of you other struggling tenants, representatives from elected officials, and the press to hear his story that he actually wrote testimony and emailed it to me from abroad so that I could share with all of you today. So I'm going to read Matthew Benedict's testimony. He says, I have lived in my Greenpoint, Brooklyn apartment since 1991 and still have a rent-stabilized lease. For the last 25 years or so, I also had preferential rent, which was explained to me as a trade-off. To earn this lower preferential rent, I was told I was responsible for all of the painting and maintenance of the apartment, which when I moved in required a great deal of work. The place appeared not to have been painted at all for decades. I figured out that the apartment had always been rent stabilized at a much higher rent than anyone would pay at the time. When my building was sold to developers nearly 2 years ago, they began to harass me to move out. And when my lease expired, they promptly took away my preferential rent. In 1 month, my rent increased by a jump of $614. Although unbelievable to me, this was apparently legal. My only option was to appeal to their fairness as human beings by writing an explanatory letter pleading my case. Needless to say, my new landlords are not concerned with fairness, only with profits. My letter has since been used by their lawyer in an attempt to discredit me. I'm currently pursuing a rent overcharge complaint with the DHCR. And so, like we've heard from many folks here, there's not a lot many tenants can do because this is a legal way to screw over tenants, right? So Matthew is still struggling, still waiting to hear from the DHCR what their ruling is going to be about an overcharge complaint. He's still fighting to get his rent lowered back to the preferential rent, or at least lowered to an amount that he can afford, so he can stay in his Greenpoint home of 25 years.
Is he being forced to pay that high rent?
They're wrong. If he had the preferential lease before 2003, he's locked in. There's no rider. He doesn't have a preferential.
Okay, I'll give you my card and then I'll put you in touch with Matthew. Is that okay?
The law was
That's
changed.
really good news to
It
me.
was changed in 2003. It wasn't retroactive. It was in 2003.
Let me give you my card. Don't leave without it.
He
Okay.
doesn't have a rider.
Si se puede.